Hello guys, welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it reads like this. Hello, how are you, my brother? I want to tell you my story on how I struggled under severe demonic possession. This whole thing started when I was somewhere around 14 years. One night, I just heard a voice that was calling out my name. At that time, when I heard that outside there was someone who was busy calling my name, I was just busy watching TV. The voice just shouted, "Lisa, Lisa, come out, Lisa." And when I listened to that voice, the voice sounded so much like that of my own mother, because on that night she had gone to an all-night prayer. So I thought that maybe she had returned back home and she wanted me to open up the door for her. But this really surprised me, because I knew that my mom, wherever she went, she made sure that she would carry her own house keys with her. So I just thought that maybe she had lost her house keys. I got out of the house, then I started searching for my mom. So when I was coming from the back of the house looking for my mom, that is when I saw a woman who looked exactly like my mother. At that time, when I saw this woman, she was already walking out of our gate. Thinking that it was my mother, I then started following her. And when I started following her, I was just in my night dress, not wearing any shoes at all. I walked for about 10 minutes following this woman whom I thought to be my mother, but I could not catch up with that woman. So in the location where my parents' house is, it was just next to this other Indian middle density suburb, and we were only divided by a railway track. As I was busy following that woman, I could not even notice that she was leading me to that railway track, and this kept happening over and over since that night. There was even a time in my life when I heard a voice that was calling me. As I was busy following that voice, I nearly fell off from a bridge. So on that night, as I was walking towards that railway line, my brother woke up and he saw that the door was wide opened and the gate was also open. And it was around 1 a.m. So they thought that someone had broken into the house. The whole neighborhood started looking for me. When my father and brothers could not find me, they thought that maybe something bad had really happened to me. So they alerted the whole community. The whole community started looking for me. But when it is not your time to die, God will save you. Because after they had searched for me everywhere and they could not find me, I was then found by this other patrol car that used to patrol around that Indian neighborhood. And when that guy found me, he found me sleeping just between the railway tracks. Along this railway line, there was a train that used to pass our location without fail at around 4 a.m. each and every day. But I was found by that man when it was somewhere around 5 a.m. The train had not yet passed. On that day, the train passed at around 8 a.m. The train got delayed, and this is how I was saved by God. I told my parents all that had happened to me, and we tried praying about it. But the more that we prayed, the more that we went to church, the more that I suffered under demonic possession. Even now, my brother, as intelligent as I was when I was still in high school, I don't even have any high school certificate, because what used to happen to me was that whenever it was time for us to write any exams, I would hear a voice that would speak with me, and that voice will be telling me all the things that I was supposed to do or to write during that exam. And sometimes that voice, it will keep on telling me that you are going to fail, you are going to fail, you will never pass this exam. And indeed, I'll end up failing that exam. If I tried praying whilst in the exam room, this is what the pastor had told me. But when I would try to pray, I would just see see a woman who was always wearing some black clothes. She would come and she would just stand right next to me. Then she would lift a black blanket, and that black blanket will be rolled over my face. Soon after that, I would have a very severe headache. My father had told me that I should not tell anyone, even my friends. My father told me that if I told anyone that I was having all of these visions, then my friends were going to laugh at me. So I didn't want anyone to bully me or to laugh at me at school. So I would rather just suffer alone. Sometimes I'll end up crying that the teacher would ask me why I was crying, but I could not explain the situation to my teacher because my father had told me that I was supposed to keep this as a secret. Otherwise, all the kids will know that there is something wrong with me. I know that doctors will say that everything that happened to me is a form of mental illness. Even now, I do take some medication because the doctors, they don't believe that the situation that I am facing, it is a spiritual situation. But let me explain my situation to you. When I was somewhere around 17 years of age, I was found sitting on top of the roof of our house. How it happened, I don't even know. All that I remember is that there was a rat. That rat, it used to follow me around. I first saw that rat when we were coming back from this other church that I had gone to, me and my friends. Whilst we were on that bus, that is when I saw that there was a rat that was running just between my feet. I shouted, and when everyone asked me what I had seen, I was embarrassed to let people know that I had seen a rat that was just running between my legs. That is the very first day that I saw that rat. So this rat, it used to follow me around. Usually, I used to bath at night at around 7 to 8 p.m. Soon after, I would have finished preparing supper for the family. Then on that night, what happened is that as I was busy bathing, I saw that same rat. Previously, this rat used to hide behind the wooden beams of the roof because our house, it didn't have a ceiling, so you could actually see those wooden beams that supported the roof of our house. But on that night, it was fearless and it just climbed down the wall. And what surprised me is that as it was busy climbing down the wall, it didn't slip or fall. That rat found its balance on those tiling. When this happened, I screamed out loud. But this pains me a lot, my brother, because I know for a fact that when I screamed as I was looking at that rat, I was inside that bathroom. But when I came back to my senses, suddenly I was now on top of the roof. Even my brothers still swear that I didn't scream when I was inside the bathroom. But how I managed to get on top of the roof without a ladder, I don't even know. At our house, we had no ladder. My father had to go and ask for a ladder from our neighbors. And when he went there, he had to lie to our neighbors because he didn't want anyone to know the situation that was happening at our home. So this whole thing made me to be a depressed young teen because I would rarely go out. I was afraid that if any of these things would happen, maybe I'll be with my friends, then they would laugh at me. When my dad came back holding the ladder, that is when he told me to climb down from the roof. Growing up, my father didn't want anyone to know that I was under the possession of a demon because they were afraid that if anyone knows, like at school, if they know that I am being possessed by a demon, maybe I'll be stigmatized at school, since at the doctors they were told that this was just a case of mental illness. The thing that I remember is that when I was about to turn 14 years, I once took a flyer of this other church. Then me and my friends, we decided to go there because we heard that after church, they give people some food to eat. This is what the person who had given us the flyer, she just said, if you come to our church, you are going to get a lot of food to eat soon after church. So the following Sunday, we prepared and we went there just to eat some good food. Even though this church was in the suburbs, but it had a bus that used to come and collect people from the location. But I only went there once and I saw things that I could not understand. So I was afraid to go there anymore. But my friends, they kept on going to that church. Even up until today, there is one of my friend who still goes to that church. The first thing that I saw was that people sat according to their wealth. Poor people were on one side, then wealthy people were on the other side. And when it came time for people to give their offerings, they used a very big brass plate. But when I looked at that brass plate, I saw that on that big brass plate, there was a lot of symbols that no one could even notice. It seemed as if it was only I that could notice those symbols that were on that brass plate, because the usher who was going around holding that brass plate, when she sensed that I had seen the symbols that were on that brass plate, she quickly took that big brass plate from me. She just looked at me with an evil eye. Then she moved over to the next bench where people were sitting. But I still remember what I saw. I saw that on that big brass plate, the symbol represented an owl that was surrounded by 2 crosses. Then when it was time for the priest to preach, that is when I just felt this urge to rush to the bathroom. Since it was my first time, I then ended up getting lost. I just found myself looking at this other room, and the door, it was like half opened. So I went into that room. Once I was inside that room, I saw that the room, it looked like it was a sort of a storeroom. It had a lot of brass plates and a lot of brass candlestands. As I was standing in that storeroom, I saw that inside the storeroom, there were a lot of spiders. It seemed as if that room, it was just used to breed some spiders. I had never seen a lot of spiders like that in my entire life. When I saw that in that room there was a lot of spiders, they were just crawling everywhere. That is when I rushed out of that room. As I was rushing out of that room, that is when I saw that just behind me there was a woman who was standing behind me, and it seemed as if she had been watching me all that time as I was busy looking at that storeroom. When I looked at her, she then asked me, what is it that I wanted in that room? And she was really rude about it. Then she accused me of being a thief. When I told her that I was just looking for the toilet, she said that you are lying. You are nothing but a thief. She then went on to show me where the toilet was, but she humiliated me by making me to urinate whilst she was busy watching me. After this, I never wanted to go to that church ever again. Now many years have gone by, and I know that only prayer can keep these demonic forces away from me, because there are some nights whereby if I do not sprinkle any salt on my pillow, I will have a lot of nightmares. Sometimes I'll feel as if there will be a spirit that will be trying to drag me out of bed. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was forwarded to me by one of our admins. If you have any story that you want to share with us, please do not hesitate to contact us via our email address. I'll be back with another episode.